Can we go back to the car hop because people today might not know?
Oh, what a
that
car
it's
hop
famous.
does? Okay. We wore like black slacks and white blouses, and we had little aprons with pockets for our money and our little order pad. And people would drive up, and we would go up to the car and ask for their order. Then when we got their order, we'd turn it into the kitchen, and then they would prepare the food and put it on a tray. And the tray had a sliding leg on it and two little hooks, so people would roll up their car window part way, and the two little hooks would go over the car window, and then we could push the leg of the tray as a brace, and then they would have their food right there. And then when they were done, they would flash their lights or honk their horn or yell, and we would come and take the tray away. And the reason the trays were heavy is that A&W root beer was sold in large, where there were three sizes of glass mugs. There was the baby beer, and then the regular beer, and then the large beer. And those mugs were heavy.
My first venture in that, I got a coping saw, and I tore every wood fruit box apart I could to make furniture and stuff. And I don't know, I just, I took a liking to that, probably to the extent I was so disappointed when Dad bought a horse, a riding horse, that I wanted a bicycle so bad. And I guess I just took that line, and of course I looked forward to getting to high school and getting manual training and physics, and the hard times they couldn't afford to even furnish that. And from that time on, I just kind of picked up this and that. And of course, one of the probably more impressive memories, I finally got a catalog on the South Bend lathe. And I picked the one out that I wanted. I think it was $300 and some. I told Dad I was going to buy it, and he says, "You cannot throw money away like that." Well, what was my next choice? To make my own lathe. And it's 70 years ago probably, and I still to this day can make a piece out of this homemade lathe as good as any factory lathe, I guess.
I earned my spending money. I helped with at the theater. I started out by popping the corn, later on ushering, and then sold tickets. I did that. Then I helped on some weekends, helped the dentist. I liked that. I also assisted with the attorney who was Harold Salter, and he was a brother of Dr. George Salter, who in later years I worked for also. And I did his typing. Oh, and I did some babysitting, not very much, mostly with Dr. Haberman, the dentist family. I always was busy.